They said I was finished. My wife cleaned out the last $5 million from my accounts and took off with my best friend, leaving me with nothing but the hollowed-out shell of a company on the brink of bankruptcy. They thought I'd be crushed, that I'd get on my knees and beg. What they didn't know is that these hands, the same ones that sign million-dollar contracts, are even better at setting a chessboard. They thought they were the hunters, never realizing they had walked straight into my trap. In this game of betrayal, they wagered money. I wagered my entire goddamn soul. Now, the board is set, and I'm the one in control. Jack, there's $5 million missing from the corporate account. My CFO, Mr. Davies, burst into my office, his voice trembling so badly the financial statements in his hand were about to fall to the floor. I was on a video call with a client. The words hit me like a physical blow, and for a second the room swam. What did you say? I forced the shock down, managing a tight smile for the camera. Apologies, something urgent has just come up. Let's reschedule. The moment the call ended, I snatched the statements from his hand. $5 million. A full $5 million. That was our entire operating capital for the month, the seed money I was about to inject into the new project. How can it be gone? The funds were there last night. I stared at the numbers, my knuckles white. Who has the authority to make a transfer that large? Davies wiped a bead of sweat from his forehead. Besides you, only Director Miller. Director Miller. My wife, Sophia Miller. We'd been married for 3 years, and she'd been the company's marketing director the whole time, handling all our external partnerships. As a sign of trust, I'd given her full authorization on the corporate accounts. Where is Sophia? I asked. She didn't come in today. Called in sick, said she was resting at home. I immediately dialed her number. It went straight to voicemail. A knot of dread tightened in my stomach. I rushed home. The apartment was empty, a dead silence hanging in the air. Sophia's suitcase was gone, and a large section of her clothes was missing from the closet. I found a note on the living room table, her familiar handwriting stark against the white paper. Jack, I'm so sorry. I'm gone. I'll pay you back, but I need the money right now. Don't look for me. I'm not coming back. I collapsed onto the sofa. The piece of paper was weightless in my hand, yet it felt heavy enough to suffocate me. 3 years of marriage. I thought we were happy. Every morning, she made me breakfast. Every night, she'd wait at the office so we could go home together. We were planning on buying a bigger house, on starting a family. And now, she was gone, and she'd taken $5 million with her. My phone rang, shattering the silence. It was Ben Davis, the company's VP. Jack, where are you? The client is breathing down my neck for the project payment. They said if the wire transfer doesn't go through by end of day, they're pulling their investment. Ben was my college buddy. We'd started this company from the ground up in our dorm room. He was the one person in the world I trusted completely. Ben, Sophia's gone, I said, my voice cracking. She took the $5 million. There was a pause on the other end. Then Ben's voice, sharp with alarm. What? How could that happen? Sophia, why would she do that? I have no idea, I said with a bitter laugh. What do we do now? Without that money, the project is dead. Don't panic, let me think, Ben said. I've got some personal capital I can move around. I'll front it for now. Just take a breath. Maybe Sophia is in some kind of trouble. She's not that kind of person. I knew he was just trying to calm me down, but I was grateful for it. After we hung up, I sat in that empty apartment all night. The next day, I forced myself to go to the office. The employees knew something was wrong. I could feel their pitying glances following me down the hall. Mr. Carter, a package arrived for you, my assistant, Sarah, said, handing me a small FedEx box. Inside was a burner phone and a simple card that read, "If you want the truth, watch this." I turned on the phone. There was a single video file. The moment I pressed play, my blood ran cold. It was Sophia and Ben, in a hotel room, wrapped in each other's arms. "He trusts you so much, Ben," Sophia said, her voice dripping with malice. "Jack would never in a million years suspect us." "Yeah, well, since college, he's always seen me as his loyal best friend," Ben sneered. "He never knew how much I couldn't stand him, watching his company get bigger and bigger while I was stuck as his number two." "It's over now," Sophia said. $5 million in hand. We can start fresh somewhere else. Once his company collapses, we can come back and pick up the pieces. You're sure you want to go with me?" Ben asked. Of course. I was so sick of that life with him, faking being the happy, loving wife every single day. "I thought I was going to lose my mind," Sophia said. "Besides, he's so rigid. No passion, no excitement." The video ended. The phone in my hand was shaking. My wife and my best friend. It wasn't just a betrayal. They had been plotting my ruin. Without that $5 million, the company would fail, and everything I'd spent years building would turn to dust. I thought about Ben's concerned voice on the phone, his offer to front me the money, The irony was suffocating. The joke was on me. I locked the phone in my office safe and forced a cold calm to settle over me. The priority was to save the company. As for Sophia and Ben, I would deal with them. Slowly. Ben walked into my office a few minutes later, the same worried expression plastered on his face. Jack, you look terrible. Why don't you go home and rest? I'll hold down the fort here. No, I'm fine. I stared at him, searching for a crack in his facade, but his performance was flawless. That money you mentioned, the capital you were going to front. How soon can you get it? Well, I'll need some time to pull it together, Ben said, looking troubled. You know, $5 million is a lot of money. I let out a cold laugh. Of course, $5 million is a lot of money. He didn't catch the sarcasm. Why don't we try to get a bridge loan from the bank? A loan? I looked at him. You know how hard that is on short notice. Besides, what bank is going to give us a loan when our entire operating capital just vanished into thin air? Then what do we do? Ben asked, playing the part of a desperate man. Don't worry. I have another way, I said, standing up. You go deal with the client. I have to step out for a bit. Ben nodded and turned to leave. I watched him go, a firestorm of rage building in my chest. What an actor. Without that video, I would have fallen for it completely. I didn't leave. I stayed in my office and started pulling every financial record the company had. It didn't take long to find it. Over the past year, there were irregularities in the cash flow for several projects. On paper, they were listed as advance payments to contractors, but a quick search revealed these were all shell corporations. The person behind them was Ben Davis. This wasn't just about the $5 million. Over the past year, they had been siphoning funds, close to another $2 million. My blood ran colder. The two people I trusted most in the world had been using me as their personal ATM, and I, like an idiot, had been completely oblivious. Later that afternoon, we got the official word from the client. If the payment wasn't in their account by 6 p.m., they were out. This was the biggest deal of the year. Losing would be a fatal blow. I glanced at the clock. 4:00 p.m. Ben came back into my office. Jack, I'm still working on the funds. Don't give up hope. Ben, I asked, testing him. Why do you think Sophia would do this? Maybe she got into some trouble, he said, his eyes shifting away from mine. You know how women can be. Sometimes they act impulsively. Is that right? I said flatly. So, when do you think she'll be back? Should be soon, Ben stammered. She's your wife, after all. She can't just stay gone forever. I nodded, letting the subject drop. At 5 o'clock, my phone buzzed with a text. It was Sophia. Jack, don't hate me. I had to do this. Ben said if I took the money, he'd leave your company and stop harassing me. I just want a quiet life. I almost laughed out loud. Still acting even now. I texted back. Sophia, I don't blame you. Where are you? Can we meet and talk about this? Her reply came almost instantly. Don't look for me. I'm not coming back. I'm sorry. I threw the phone on my desk, my body thrumming with rage. At 5:30, Ben walked in for the final act. Jack, maybe we just have to accept defeat, he said, his voice heavy with false sympathy. We can start over. We started with nothing before, right? You think we should give up? I asked, looking him straight in the eye. What other choice do we have? Ben said with a shrug. Without capital, our hands are tied. I stared at his face, the face of the man I had built a business with for 5 years. This was who he really was. You're right, Ben, I said. Maybe we should just give up. A flicker of triumph flashed in his eyes before he quickly masked it. In that case, we should start liquidating, I said, standing up. The company's assets should be worth something. At least we can give the employees a severance package. Jack, are you sure about this? Ben asked. Positive. Good, I nodded. But before we do that, I want to see a full accounting of all our books, including the projects you managed. Ben's face tightened. Why do you need to see the books? Liquidation requires detailed financial statements. It's standard procedure, I said. You don't have a problem with that, do you? Of course not, Ben said with a forced smile. I'll go get them ready. Watching him walk out, I allowed myself a cold smile. The show was just getting started. At 6 p.m. on the dot, the client officially pulled their investment. A wave of despair washed over the office as the news spread. I stood by my window, looking out at the city lights, feeling preternaturally calm. Ben pushed the door open, his expression a carefully crafted mask of sorrow and frustration. Jack, I'm so sorry, he said. It's my fault. I couldn't raise the money in time. It's okay. It's not your fault, I said, turning around. Are the books ready? Right here, he said, handing me a thick binder. I took it, flipped through a few pages, and set on my desk. Ben, how long have we known each other? Since college. Almost 10 years, he said. 10 years. That's a long time, I nodded. What do you think our friendship is worth? Ben froze. What do you mean by that? Nothing. Just curious, I said. If you needed money, a lot of money, what would you do? I, I find a way to earn it, he said. And if you couldn't earn it through normal channels? I pressed. Ben's face grew tense. Jack, what's with you today? Why all the weird questions? Just making conversation, I said, walking over to my safe and dialing the combination. Ben, want to see something interesting? I took out the burner phone and placed it on the desk between us. The color drained from Ben's face. What? What is that? He stammered. You don't recognize it? I smirked. Let me jog your memory. I tapped the screen, and the video started to play. Sophia's and Ben's voices filled the silent office. Ben froze completely, his face turning ashen. Jack, let me explain, he pleaded, his voice a panicked whisper. Explain what? I snapped, stopping the video. Explain how you were sleeping with my wife? Or how you were embezzling money from my company? Ben collapsed into a chair, shaking. It wasn't my idea. It was Sophia. She seduced me. She seduced you? I laughed, a harsh, grating sound. The video sounded pretty clear to me. You said you couldn't stand me. You said you were going to destroy my company. No, that's not it. Ben shook his head frantically. Jack, you have to believe me. We're friends. Friends. I stepped toward him, my voice low and dangerous. Do friends sleep with their friend's wife? Do friends steal their friend's money? Ben opened his mouth, but no words came out. You know what I found? I continued. I went through the books. Over the past year, you've funneled almost $2 million into shell companies. Add that to the $5 million Sophia took, and we're looking at $7 million. Jack, listen to me. Ben tried to stand, but his legs wouldn't support him. I'm done listening, I said coldly. I just have one question for you. Where's the money? The money. It's already. He stammered. Already what? Transferred overseas. I sneered. Or did you two already spend it all? Ben stared at the floor, unable to meet my eyes. Good. So you had a long-term plan, I said. But you made one miscalculation. What? He whispered, looking up. You thought I was a fool who would let you get away with it. I picked up my desk phone. But now, the game is over. I dialed 911. Hello. I'd like to report a crime. My company has been defrauded of $7 million. I have the evidence right here. Hearing me on the phone with the police, Ben completely lost it. Jack, you can't do this. We're friends, he screamed, lunging for the phone. I shove him back. Friends. I said, my voice like ice. The moment you betrayed me, we were done. The police arrived quickly. As they were leading him away in handcuffs, Ben was still shouting. Jack, you'll regret this. Sophia's never coming back. You're nothing without her. I watched him go, feeling nothing. Now it was Sophia's turn. That night, I sat alone in my office, mapping out my next move. The company was in trouble, but it wasn't dead. I had other assets. I could rebuild, but I couldn't just let Sophia go. She thought she could just disappear and escape the consequences. She was wrong. I picked up my phone and sent her a text. Ben's been arrested. How long are you planning to hide? Her reply was almost instant. What? Ben was arrested? Why? I typed back with a cold smile. You really don't know? $7 million in wire fraud and embezzlement. That should get him a few years in prison. This time, the reply took longer. Half an hour later, a new message appeared. Jack, I can give the money back, but you have to promise not to call the police. I replied, where is it? It's in a Swiss bank account. Good. When are you coming back? I can't come back. Why not? I typed. Because I'm pregnant. I stared at the screen, the words blurring in front of me. Pregnant? My child? Or Ben's? My mind went completely blank. Pregnant? We had been married for 3 years and never had a child. It wasn't that I didn't want one. Sophia always said she was still young, that she wanted to wait a few more years. And now she was pregnant. My child or his. The image of her and Ben in that hotel room flashed in my mind, and a wave of nausea washed over me. My fingers trembled as I typed back. Whose is it? After a long pause, she replied, it's yours. I let out a humorless laugh. You sure about that? Of course I'm sure, she wrote. Jack, for the baby's sake, can you please not go to the police? The baby? The words tasted like ash in my mouth. If it really was my child, I couldn't report her. But how could I possibly know if it was mine? Sophia, you have to come back, I replied. I can't. If I come back, I'll be arrested. Then never come back, I wrote. But I want my money. I'll pay you back, but I need time, she replied. I shut off the phone, my mind a storm of anger and helplessness. The next day, I went to see Ben in jail. When he saw me, his eyes were filled with hatred. Jack, you really had to take it this far, he said. We were friends since college. Couldn't you, for old time's sake, just let me go? Friendship? I scoffed. Did you think about friendship when you were betraying me? It was a moment of weakness, Ben said. Sophia came onto me. I couldn't resist. Still blaming everyone but yourself? I said, Ben, you're a bigger disappointment than I could have imagined. Jack, I know I was wrong. I can get you the money back, he said desperately. Where is it? It's Sophia has it, he said. The money you two stole. She has all of it. Yes, Ben nodded. She says she's pregnant, I said, looking him dead in the eye. Is the baby yours or mine? The color drained from his face. She's pregnant. His reaction was all the answer I needed. It's yours, isn't it? I demanded. Ben looked down, unable to meet my gaze. Answer me. I raised my voice. I don't know, he mumbled. It could be mine. Or, it could be yours. What do you mean it could be? I asked coldly. We've been together for about 6 months, Ben said. But she was with you too. I couldn't listen anymore. I turned and walked out. Leaving the jail, my mind was a chaotic mess. The affair between Sophia and Ben was even worse than I thought. And now, she was carrying a child whose father was a complete mystery. I took out my phone and sent her a text. Ben said you've been together for 6 months. Whose baby is it? After a long time, she replied. It's yours, I swear. I replied with a cold laugh. What is your oath worth now? Jack, I know I hurt you, but this baby is yours. Then come back, I wrote. We'll get a paternity test. If the child is mine, I'll consider not pressing charges. I can't come back. Why? Because I'm scared. Scared of what? I typed back instantly. Scared of facing you. Scared of facing all of this, she replied. I stared at her message, a fresh wave of fury rising in me. Sophia, you betrayed me. You stole from me. And now you're going to run from your responsibilities? I'm not running. I told you I'd pay you back. When? Give me a year. A year? I scoffed. A year was more than enough time for her to have the baby and vanish off the face of the earth. No, 1 month. Tops. A month is too short. I need time to get things in order. Then you have 2 months, I wrote. If I don't have my money in 2 months, I'm releasing the video. I'll make sure everyone in our lives knows exactly what the two of you did. This time, she didn't reply at all. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, the emptiness of the place amplifying the loneliness and rage inside me. 3 years. I really thought we were happy. But looking back, all the little details were red flags. The late nights, she claimed to be working at the office, even when projects were slow. The frequent girls' nights out, where I was never invited. The way her phone was always locked, always angled away from me. All the signs were there. I was just too busy trusting her to see them. I wouldn't make that mistake again. I pulled out my phone and started searching for a good private investigator. If Sophia wouldn't come to me, I would go to her. I was going to make her understand that running away was not an option. 2 months passed in a blur. Sophia never came back, and the money never appeared. I hired found her. She was in a small city in Thailand, renting an apartment, clearly settling in for the long haul. The investigator sent photos. Her pregnancy was obvious now. She looked to be about 6 months along. Seeing the pictures stirred a complicated storm of emotions inside me. If that child was mine, I was about to become a father. But the mother was a woman who had systematically destroyed my life. I booked a flight to Thailand. Landing in Bangkok, I took a taxi to the address the I had provided. My heart hammered against my ribs as I knocked on her apartment door. It opened, and there she was. The moment she saw me, her face went white with shock. Jack, how did you find me? She stammered. I didn't answer, my eyes scanning her appearance. She was thinner, except for the pronounced swell of her stomach. Her face was drawn and pale. Let me in, I said. She hesitated, then stepped aside. The apartment was small, a simple 1-bedroom, but it was neat and clean. You look like you're doing all right for yourself, I said, my voice dripping with ice. Enjoying life on my dime. Jack, I know you hate me, but the baby is innocent, she pleaded. The baby? I laughed coldly. Are you still sure it's my baby? Of course I am, she insisted. If you don't believe me, we could do a paternity test. Good. Look at her right now. Her expression faltered. We can't do it now. We have to wait until after the baby is born. You can do a prenatal paternity test, I stated. That's risky for the baby, she stammered. Her reaction told me everything I needed to know. Sophia, when are you going to stop lying? I'm not lying. The baby is yours. If that's true, why didn't you come back? I was scared. Scared of what? Scared I'd find out the baby isn't mine. I shot back. She looked down, refusing to meet my eyes. Just tell me the truth. It's Ben's, isn't it? No, she insisted weakly. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper, handing it to her. What's this? She asked. It's a copy of Ben's DNA profile, I said. I got a hair sample from his things before I threw them out. Her face went impossibly pale. After the baby is born, we'll do a 3-way test. Then we'll see who the father really is. Jack, why are you doing this to me? She suddenly burst into tears. Doing this to you? I scoffed. You betrayed me. And now you're playing the victim? I know I was wrong, but it's already happened. We can't go back, can we? She sobbed. Go back. I looked at her. Sophia, do you honestly think that's possible? No, I know it's not, she whispered. But the baby is innocent. You can't abandon the baby just because you hate me. If the child is mine, I won't abandon it, I said. But if it's not, that's a different story. Then what do you want from me? It's simple. Give me back my money. I don't have it anymore. You don't have it? I laughed. $7 million. You spent it that fast. I made a bad investment. It's all gone. A bad investment? I stared at her. Sophia, could you at least come up with a believable lie? I'm not lying, she insisted. I pulled out my phone and showed her a screenshot of a bank statement. This is your Swiss account. It currently holds a balance of $6.8 million, I said. Seeing the screenshot, she completely fell apart. How did you know? She trembled. I have my ways, I said. Sophia, are you really going to keep lying to me, even now? She sank onto the sofa, covering her face and sobbing. Jack, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. What good is sorry now? I said coldly. I just want my money. I can give back, but you have to promise not to report me. That depends, I said. If the baby is mine, I might consider it. If not, all deals are off. Jack, you can't do this to me, she cried. I can't do this to you. I sneered. Then how could you do what you did to me? I wasn't thinking clearly. Not thinking clearly? I shot back. You and Ben were together for 6 months. You called it a lapse in judgment. She fell silent. Her only answer the sound of her own weeping. All right, stop crying, I said. Let's talk logistics. What logistics? She asked, looking up. 1. You transfer my money back to my account. 2. After the baby is born, we do the paternity test. 3. If the child isn't mine, you and your baby disappear from my life forever. And if the baby is yours? She asked. Then we'll talk, I said. Sophia was silent for a long time before finally nodding. Okay, she said. I agree. The next day, I went with her to the bank. Watching the full amount transfer back into my corporate account didn't bring the satisfaction I expected. You can get money back. You can't get back trust. Jack, Sophia said suddenly as we stood outside the bank. Is there any chance for us? I looked at her, at the woman I once loved more than anything, who was now a complete stranger to me. Sophia, some things, once they're broken, can never be fixed, I said. Fresh tears streamed down her face. I understand, she whispered. I turned and walked away, and I didn't look back. Back in the States, I threw myself into my work. With the capital restored, the company quickly stabilized. Ben Davis was convicted of embezzlement and wire fraud and sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. That chapter was closed, but my heart was still heavy. Sophia's due date was next month. Regardless of the outcome, I had to face it. If the baby was mine, what would I do? Forgive Sophia and try to start over? Fight for custody and raise the child myself? And if it wasn't mine, how would I handle that? The questions haunted me day and night. A month later, the call came. It was Sophia. Jack, I had the baby, she said, her voice weak. You did? My stomach clenched. A boy or a girl? A girl. How is she? She's healthy. She's beautiful, she said. I was quiet for a moment. When do we do the test? Do you really have to? She asked. Absolutely, I said. Okay, she sighed. We can go to the hospital tomorrow. The next day, I was on another flight to Thailand. At the hospital, I saw the baby. She was tiny, her skin still red and wrinkled, her eyes squeezed shut. Looking at her, I felt a strange pang in my chest. No matter who her father was, she was innocent in all of this. What's her name? I asked Sophia. She doesn't have one yet, she said. I wanted to wait for the test results. I just nodded. The DNA test was simple. A swab from my cheek, one from Sophia, and one from the baby. The doctor said the results would be ready in 3 days. For 3 days, I waited in Thailand. Sophia was a wreck, her anxiety over the results palpable every time I saw her. On the 3rd day, we went to the hospital together to get the report. The doctor reviewed the document and then looked at us. Based on the DNA analysis, he said, Mr. Carter is not the biological father. Hearing those words, I felt a strange mix of emotions. On one hand, a profound sense of relief washed over me. The agonizing question that had tormented me for months was finally answered. On the other hand, there was a surprising pang of loss. I had, in some small way, started to get used to the idea of being a father. Sophia completely broke down. No, that's impossible, she sobbed. There must be a mistake. There is no mistake, the doctor said calmly. We ran the test twice to be certain. The results are conclusive. I looked at Sophia, her face buried in her hands, and felt nothing but cold emptiness. Do you have anything else to say? I asked. She just kept crying. Sophia, as of today, we are done, I said. You and your child are no longer my concern. Jack, please don't do this to me, she begged. Already gave you a chance, I said. You're the one who chose betrayal. I turned and walked out of the hospital. I didn't look back at her or her daughter. As the hospital doors closed behind me, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders that I hadn't even realized I was carrying. My 3-year marriage was over. The ordeal had been excruciating, but it was finally finished. I pulled out my phone and sent a text to my lawyer. Prepare the divorce papers. Back in the States, I finalized the divorce. It was complicated by Sophia being overseas, but it got done. I was single again. I could finally start over. With my full attention back on the company, business began to thrive. Without Ben poisoning the well, operations ran smoother than ever. I hired a new VP and rebuilt my management team from the ground up. Within 6 months, our quarterly profits had surpassed the previous year's peak. I bought a new, larger apartment downtown, leaving behind the home filled with bitter memories. Sometimes I would think about Sophia and her child. I wonder how they were doing and if Ben would look for them when he got out of prison. But then I'd push the thoughts away. It had nothing to do with me anymore. My life was back on track. My work was more focused, and the company was expanding. And then I met someone new. Her name was Chloe Evans. She was the lawyer who had handled my divorce. We ran into each other again at a charity gala and ended up talking all night. A few weeks later, I asked her out. Chloe was the complete opposite of Sophia. She was independent, fiercely intelligent, and had a strong moral compass. She had her own career, her own principles. She never tried to be someone she wasn't to please me, and she wasn't impressed by my money. With her, I felt a sense of security and genuine partnership I had never known. We dated for a year, and then I proposed. On the day of our engagement party, I got a text. It was from Sophia. Jack, I heard you're getting married. Congratulations. I looked at it for a second, then deleted it. The past was the past. I wouldn't let it cast a shadow over my future. Our wedding was that spring. It was a simple, elegant affair with our closest friends and family. Compared to my first wedding, this one felt real. There were no fake smiles, no hidden secrets, just sincere joy and hope for the future. Married life was blissful. Chloe understood the demands of my job and was my biggest supporter. Her own law firm was flourishing, and we often found ourselves advising each other, becoming partners in every sense of the word. A year later, Chloe told me she was pregnant. I was so overjoyed I couldn't sleep that night. This was my child. There were no doubts, no lies, no betrayal attached. This was real. I doted on Chloe throughout her pregnancy, terrified of anything going wrong. I went with her to every doctor's appointment, every birthing class, and spent weekends assembling baby furniture. These were all things I had never experienced with Sophia. Looking back, it was clear that Sophia and I had never been building a future together. We were just two people running on separate tracks, pretending to go in the same direction. 9 months later, our son was born. The moment I saw him, I knew. He was mine. He looked just like me, with the same eyes, the same nose. Holding him in my arms, I felt a sense of happiness so profound it almost hurt. This was my son, my blood, my future. We named him Cole, hoping his life would be as bright and full of promise as the morning sun. Cole's birth changed everything. I finally understood what it meant to be a father, the depth of that love and responsibility. Coming home from a long day at work and seeing his smile made every challenge, every hardship completely worth it. Chloe was a wonderful wife and an even better mother. She managed our home and took care of Cole with a natural grace that left me in awe. Our life was simple, and it was perfect. The company continued to grow. We opened 2 new branch offices, and our staff grew to over 200 people. I was named Entrepreneur of the Year, and the company won several industry awards. But none of it compared to the feeling of coming home to my wife and son. Then, one day, I got an unexpected call. It was Ben. Jack, I'm out, he said. His voice was rough, aged. You're out. I was surprised. So soon. Good behavior, he said. Jack, can we meet? I hesitated, but in the end I agreed. We met at a coffee shop. 3 years in prison had changed him. He was thin and haggard, with the weary look of a man who had lost everything. Jack, I'm sorry, he said as soon as he sat down. What good does that do now? I replied. I know it's useless, but I have to say it, he said. I've spent every day for the last 3 years regretting what I did, regretting betraying you. So what are your plans now? I asked. I want to start over, he said, but no one will hire me. You should have expected that. Yeah, I know, he said. Look, Jack, I'm not here to ask you for a job. I wanted to ask if you know where Sophia is. Sophia? The question caught me off guard. You're still thinking about her? I want to find her, he said. We have a child. I want to be a father to her. I looked at him, the man who had torn my life apart, now talking about taking responsibility. They're in Thailand, I said. I don't have a specific address. Thank you, he said. Been a piece of advice, I said. Let the past go. Start a new life. Don't get tangled up in old mistakes. I know, he said, but my daughter is innocent. I nodded and left it at that. After Ben left, I felt conflicted. I had no idea what would happen if he found Sophia, or how their daughter was doing. But it wasn't my problem. I had my own family, my own child, my own life. The debts of the past had been paid. That evening, I told Chloe about it. Do you think I should give him Sophia's exact address? I asked. That's up to you, she said. If you think they deserve a chance to be a family and take responsibility, then help him. If you think it's better to leave the past buried, then don't. The little girl is innocent, I said. She deserves a father. Then give them that chance, Chloe said. The next day, I sent Ben a text message with the last known address I had for Sophia. A week later, I received a text from Sophia. Jack, thank you for giving Ben my address. We've decided to try to make it work, to give our daughter a proper family. I replied with a single message. I wish you all the best. Then, I deleted her contact information for the last time. From that day forward, there was no communication between us. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, Cole was 3 years old. He was a bright, energetic boy who started talking early and was always running around. Chloe said he was becoming more and more like me every day, especially his eyes. They were a perfect match. I cherished my time with him. Every night, I would read him a story and teach him his letters. On weekends, the three of us would go to the park or take drives out of the city. This life filled me with a sense of peace and joy I had never known. The company was also reaching new heights. We had opened 2 more subsidiaries, and our valuation had broken the 9-figure mark. But all the success in the world couldn't compare to coming home to my family. One afternoon, while I was reviewing some documents, my assistant knocked on the door. Mr. Carter, there's a woman here to see you. Who is it? She says she's an old acquaintance. Her name is Vance. Vance? The name didn't ring a bell. Send her in, I said. The door opened, and a young woman walked in. She was attractive and sharply dressed in a business suit, carrying herself with an air of confidence. Hello, Mr. Carter. I'm Megan Vance, she said. I used to be Ben Davis's assistant. Ben's assistant? The memory clicked into place. I did remember a sharp young woman who worked for him. What can I do for you? I asked. I'd like to apply for the marketing director position at your company, she said. Marketing director? I was taken aback. Do you have the relevant experience? I do, she said confidently. I worked under Ben for 3 years. I know the marketing world inside and out. Then why did you leave his company? Because that company went under, she said. I nodded. I had expected as much. After Ben went to prison, it was only a matter of time. Ms. Vance, I'll need to see your resume. She handed it to me, and I reviewed it carefully. Her qualifications were impressive. She had extensive experience and a strong track record. Why do you want to work here? I asked. Because I know you're a good boss, she said. Ben mentioned you often. He said you were a capable and honorable man. What else did he say about me? He said he was sorry, that he'd wronged you terribly. I was silent for a moment. Do you know what happened between us? I know some of it, she said, but I believe that's all in the past. We should all be looking forward. I studied her. She was young, and her eyes were clear, holding no hint of deception. All right, I said, I'll give you a chance, but on one condition. What's that? You are never to mention Ben Davis in my presence again. I understand, she said. And just like that, Megan Vance became our new marketing director. It turned out to be the right decision. She was incredibly talented, a hard worker, and she adapted to the new environment seamlessly. Under her leadership, our market share grew even further. But I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something particular about the way she looked at me. One day, I finally decided to address it. Ms. Vance, is there something you want to say to me? She hesitated, then spoke. Mr. Carter, I want to tell you a secret. What secret? The truth is, I've always admired you, she said. From the first time Ben mentioned you, I was intrigued. Intrigued? Yes, she said. I think you're a very charismatic man. Successful, loyal, responsible. Her words made me deeply uncomfortable. Ms. Vance, I think you've misunderstood something, I said coolly. I'm a married man. I love my wife. I know, she said. I'm not trying to imply anything. I just wanted to be honest about my feelings. Then I'd advise you to forget those feelings, I said, my tone firm. We are colleagues. That's all. She nodded, saying nothing more. But after that day, the way she looked at me only grew more intense. I began to consciously keep my distance from her. I delegated communications, avoiding any one-on-one meetings. But she seemed determined. She found constant excuses to come to my office, to report on progress, to ask for advice. Every time she was there, I could feel the desire radiating from her. It made my skin crawl. I would not go through another betrayal. I would not let anything hurt Chloe and Cole. One afternoon, she came to my office again. "Mr. Carter, I need to talk to you. Is this about work?" "No," she said. "It's personal." "Ms. Vance, I don't think we have anything personal to discuss. Please, just give me 5 minutes," she pleaded. I looked at her and, against my better judgment, nodded. "Mr. Carter, I know I shouldn't feel this way about you," she began, "but I can't control it." "Ms. Vance, I strongly suggest you learn to," I said. "I've tried, but it's no use," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "Every time I see you, my heart races. And what do you expect me to do about that? I was hoping you could give me a chance." "A chance for what?" "A chance to prove myself," she said. "I can take care of you better than your wife. I can understand you better." A hot flash of anger shot through me. "Megan, do you have any idea what you're saying?" I stood up, my voice dangerously low. "You're asking me to cheat on my wife?" I just thought." She stammered, flustered. "You thought what?" I snapped. "That I'd be eager to repeat the past? To go through that same hell of betrayal all over again? No, that's not it. I'm not that kind of person. Not that kind of person." I laughed, a cold, bitter sound. "What you're doing right now, how is it any different from what Sophia did all those years ago?" At the mention of Sophia's name, her face went pale. I'm not like her. How are you different?" I demanded. "You're both trying to destroy a family. You're both trying to take something that doesn't belong to you." "Mr. Carter, I'm serious. I love you," she said, tears welling in her eyes. "Love me?" I stared at her. "Megan, what do you know about love?" "I know." "No, you don't," I said. "Real love is about respect. It's about understanding, about supporting the person you care about. It's not about coercion or destruction or selfish possession." "And your wife can give you all that," she challenged. "Yes," I said without hesitation. "Chloe understands my work, supports my dreams, and respects my choices. She has given me a warm and loving home, a beautiful child, and a bright future." "And me?" she asked. "What can I give you? What do you give me?" I shot back. "The pain of betrayal? A guilty conscience? A broken home?" She fell silent, tears streaming down her face. "Megan, I'm going to say this one last time," I said. "Get rid of these ideas and do your job. If you can't do that, then you can leave this company." I understand," she whispered. The next day, her letter of resignation was on my desk. In it, she wrote, "Mr. Carter, I know my feelings were wrong, and I should never have burdened you with them. I will be leaving the company to start fresh somewhere else. I wish you and your family all the happiness in the world." I read the letter and felt a profound sense of relief. It was the best outcome for everyone. That night, I told Chloe what had happened. "Do you think I handled it correctly?" I asked. "Perfectly," she said, her hand finding mine. "Jack, I'm so glad you're the man you are." "What kind of man is that?" "A loyal one," she said softly. "A man who, no matter the temptation, would never betray his family." "That's the bare minimum," I said, pulling her closer. "I will never let anyone destroy what we have." "I know," she said, kissing me. In that moment, holding my wife in my arms, I felt a sense of peace and contentment that was absolute.